Namaskar to all our listeners. Today we have with us Dr. Anirban Bandyopadhyay. He is a renowned scientist who is currently working on making artificial brain from time crystal at National Institute of Material Sciences in Tsukuba, Japan. Apart from his scientific work, he is keenly interested in Indian philosophy, Sanskrit language and classical music. Anirbanji, welcome to All India Radio Pune.
Dhanyavad. Thank you very much for bringing me here. It's really my honor and a pleasure to be with you.
First of all, please tell us about your childhood, schooling, and how did you develop interest in science?
So, I was born in Bengal in a place called Malda, which was the kingdom of ancient gold kingdom. So, I studied in Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda Vidya Mandir, where the environment of teachers, most of the teachers were doctorate, highly educated, and they used to discuss only about how the Nobel laureates used to get into lifetime devotion towards science, discovering something completely unknown. So those kind of stories haunted me. But also we had a science club, and I had a big telescope, and I used to watch skies and stars in the night. So all these stories and fictions created an aura around me about science.
So, what was your inspiration behind making career as a scientist?
I always used to wonder how I am ever about myself. Who am I? This question used to haunt me always, and I understood that it is the human brain. It is my brain that is able to enjoy the beauty of flower. That is able to enjoy the beautiful music. It composes beautiful music. It creates something new, incredible. So I wanted to make artificial brain from my childhood. At the age of 12, my father gave me a book, Artificial Brain, that was compilation of 30 years of brain research carried out in Soviet Union, in Russia. And I read that book and I thought that I will make artificial brain one day. I was very stupid. That time I never understood what is a scientist, what a scientist does. But I had this dream, and I am maybe only few people in the world who dreams something at the very early age of his career, and then sometimes later, 20, 30 years later, it becomes true.
Okay. So, what was your age when you got this book?
12.
12. Okay. So, later on which subject your PhD thesis was based? Who was your guide?
Yeah.
And please tell us about your PhD days.
Yeah. So I did my PhD in Indian Association for the Cultivation of Science. That is Bharatiya Gaveshana Karshan Kendra. Vigyan Karshan Kendra. So it was established in 1884. It was the first research institute in Asia. First public funded research institute in Asia. And great J.C. Bose, C.V. Raman, and then all the great scientists of that time who contributed fundamentally and changed the course of scientific history of mankind in the world. They all were affiliated from that institute. So I did my PhD there in the topic information processing in biological systems. So that means suppose how a living cell communicate, how we do information processing, how our biological cells talk to each other, and we think, how do we do that? Can we do it artificially? So this kind of topic were subject of my PhD research, and I did my PhD with Professor Amlan J. Pal in cultivation of science, and of course some part of my work, PhD work, I did it in Sheffield in UK.
Okay. So, how did you get the opportunity to work in Japan? Please tell us
Ah,
about your journey from India to Japan.
yeah, yeah. So basically, I was playing football one day in the ground,
Yeah.
and then somebody came and told me that, look, you always think have always have crazy ideas.
Hmm.
You know, in Japan there is a competition going on, and they are selecting 30 to 40 odd people from all over the world
Hmm.
who will be working in futuristic scientific projects.
Hmm.
And normally, after doing PhD or after doing doctorate, you need to work for 10 years, 12 years, 13 years in different countries to get a scientist position.
Hmm.
But here, they are so flexible
Hmm.
that right now you could become a faculty. And I have not done even PhD.
Yeah.
So what? You just apply. Today 11 o'clock is the last day. But
Okay.
I always had crazy ideas. So immediately I wrote the project and I submitted.
Hmm.
And there was a strict review process. I had to come to Japan for interview, and there were several Nobel laureates and in the team. So Harry Kroto was my mentor, and then later Henry Kruerer. So I got I won the competition, and then I came here, which transformed my career totally. So I wrote a project to build an artificial brain in 2004, and then I was 26, 27 something years old.
So, will this artificial brain a computer program or some biological entity?
It will be a biological entity the way I'm trying to build it. The way whole world was trying to build was a program, so run by human instructions. So that is multi-billion-dollar project that has been going on for the last 10, 12 years,
Okay.
mostly secretly,
Hmm.
because as you know that the country that will
Yes,
make
yes.
the artificial brain will control the world.
Hmm. So, in the description, I was reading that it will be based on time crystal. So, what
Yes.
this time crystal actually is in simple terms?
Hmm. So, if you want to understand time crystal, you have to understand the architecture, the fighting between Lord Shiva and Kali, and how Sri Jantra are created in Hindu system. So basically, entire foundation of Hinduism is based on Kala Chakra. So Kala Chakra is the cycle of time. So it is considered in Hinduism that time always comes back, and every event returns to its initial position. So for thousands and thousands of years, Hindu monks and rishis and munis used to conceptualize this particular thing. So just imagine in Varanasi fighting between Shiva and Brahma. Shiva cut off the fifth head of Brahma, and if you check the architecture that has been used and it is still used in the worship, you will find that it is a cycle of time, architecture of time. So lots of clocks are put together side by side. So this is how Hasta Mudra and other things are created. So time crystal is a concept where you put many clocks. Imagine many clocks coming together like a football, and then you are putting them together. In the 1960s, this concept was again born in the Western world, and they said that, look, how could a virus in the 1960s, that time coronavirus was not there, but they came up with a concept that, look, how come a virus which is only few molecules wide and control the whole human body and wipe out the entire immune system? How is it possible? Then they came up with an idea that it must have an architecture of clocks which is running by itself, operating by itself, and those clocks are actually regulating and controlling the intelligence of a living system. So this is how in the Western world time crystal came. And what we have done is combined the Eastern concept and the Western concepts together and then brought them into a 3D architecture of clock. So imagine you put lots of tuning forks together and they are all singing like a sitar and then santoor and tanpura, and all these string instruments are playing together, and a composite music is being synthesized. So that's why I say that universe is a fractal, and consciousness is its music.
So for our listeners, could you please explain in brief and in simple language how does our brain, the human brain, work?
So basically, I must tell all the audience that nobody in the world is claimed to know how the brain works, because its engineering is so incredible that 21st century is considered to be the century of brain science, where in the next 100 years, humanity might be able to resolve how the human brain works.
Okay.
Having said that, I would like to suggest that how I think the brain works. So I think that the way we have worked in the last 15 years is that we have mapped every single clock in the brain. So every single element inside the brain is like a musical instrument to us. And they are all connected within and above in a beautiful architecture, so that they all vibrate continuously and play a music. That musical instrument is so designed that it can synchronize with the music created by the universe, different systems of the universe. That's why without knowing anything, it can do it. For an example, I never knew what is the question that you are going to ask me. Definitely, I didn't prepare the replies. So instantly, I'm creating something in my mind and instantly telling you. You are listening to that. Instantly in your mind, you are synthesizing using your past knowledge. You are analyzing it, and instantly you are responding it and asking me the second question. How is it possible? Any machine in the world can do it? No. Even if you connect all the computers and supercomputers of the world, still you cannot replicate it. So nobody understands. So my hypothesis.
So isn't it a complex computer program?
No. If it is a complex computer program, computer programming means instructions, list of instructions. All the machines have list of instructions. How could you have a list of instructions? Because I never told you what I'm going to say. So you never had any instruction. Nobody programmed you. Right now you are asking me a question. Right now I am giving the answer. So who wrote the program, sir? Nobody. Nobody wrote the program. That's the beauty of the engineering, and we have to resolve it, and then the new civilization will be created. So whole human civilization will be changed from the next day after we understand the engineering of the brain.
So you recently published a book named Nanobrain. Please tell more about it.
So basically, understanding the brain is very difficult, because in 2008, 2009, I was following the existing science, existing scientific protocols, and all that kind of thing. And then I realized nobody understands how the brain works. So in 2009 and 2010, this Taylor and Francis group editor, he asked me that, Anirban, why don't you write a book? You are arguing with so many people that nothing is right, nothing is right, nothing is right. Why don't you tell us what is the right thing? How does the brain work? So Roberto was his name, and then he asked me. So I started writing the book in 2010. But I decided, and my father died in 2010, and before the death, he told me that, look, Tukun, you must write the book after you learn how the brain works. If you don't do it. So I went on working, and 2012 I supposed to submit the book. I didn't, because I didn't understand, and I continued, and 2018-19 I understood how the brain works. So in this meantime, I had set up a neuroscience laboratory, a hardcore physics laboratory, a computer science laboratory, an organic chemistry laboratory. So normally in the organic chemistry sector, with a small problem, people work throughout their life. But what I had to do is I had to create completely different, diametrically opposite, different, fundamentally different laboratories here in Tsukuba, here in our institute, only to investigate the brain. because I was passionate about it. I never thought about my promotion. I never thought about how much money I am earning. I never thought about how many papers I am publishing. But if you look at my interviews in 2012, 2013 in different news channels, you will see I have said that one day I will understand the brain. I never said I understand it, but I say that I am going to. That was only my passion. And then after doing lots of physics, quantum physics related work, biophysics related work, hardcore neuroscience work, hardcore mathematics work, and then organic chemistry work. And then after this, I felt like I have little bit of understanding how the brain works. And then I came up submitting the manuscript in 2019 to the publishers that please go ahead and publish this.
So what do you think about the possibility that artificial intelligence will overpower human intelligence in future?
It is true that if we create an artificial machine that can evolve and regenerate itself, because then it will become more and more intelligent. However, instruction-based machines can never outcome human being. It's impossible because it's based on human instruction. So because you are instructing it how to do it. But suppose we create an organic jelly-based brain, the way we are creating it in our laboratory here in Japan, in Tsukuba. And we are not giving it any property, any ability to regenerate. Okay? But in future, say after 100 years after my death, somebody takes it up and then able to successfully regenerate. So one brain is regenerating another brain and evolving. Then definitely we will have another new transition in the human civilization where we will have super powerful Superman brain. But I think that super conscious beings will not enslave humans. So I was interviewed in United Nations Security Program in Australia a few years back. It's online. You may look into that. And there was a issue that if there is a very intelligent robot, will it enslave humans? I mean, shall we be enslaved by those AIs? Like this is going on all over the world. You know, it's a very hot topic of discussion. So I said two things. First, how that super intelligent being would work. So I always give example of a Japanese robot museum here in Tsukuba. So here there are big robots with big guns and something like that, and then there is a cat, little cute cat. Everybody goes to that museum, talks to that cat, and this cat is so nagging. If you go there, you hug him, you cuddle with it. Only then it will talk to you, else it will start crying. And then 90% of the people in the entire museum goes to that cat. So the super intelligent being will not have guns. They will not kill you. They will let you think in the way it wants you to think. So that kind of machines, the way the Hollywood movies are being created, are all stupid and bogus, useless. Super intelligent beings never, ever would kill you or enslave you. It will let you think in the way it wants you to think. Like, imagine Jesus Christ, and imagine Buddha, imagine Sankaracharya. They just created a very new kind of thoughts, and thousands of years they are ruling. They are ruling. Their body has left, but the rule has not finished. It's going on. So it's a kind of a supremacy. It's kind of a power that has a completely different kind of definition. So those people who are creating a panic in the world that AI will come and enslave us, they are really, I think, zombies and then not really intelligent beings.
Okay. So isn't it like that the biological entity with artificial brain is like artificially created living being?
Yes, true. Absolutely true. So when it will become conscious, So when we will be able to understand the mystery of consciousness and we'll be able to create it. Because I think that the Hindu rishis and munis understood the 108 magic, because when I was measuring the proteins, I found the 108 number of frequencies, fundamental frequencies, which are clocking together in a very unique geometry, from which I got interested into the manifestation of Lord Shiva's dance, cosmic dance. So when we know that and we know how to program it in the machine or engine, we are basically allowing it to synchronize with the universe exactly the same way we do. So it is living and it is a life form.
So what is your opinion about current research works going on in India and facilities available for researchers in India? Are those enough or improvement is needed?
So basically, personally, I think that research is done by passion. If you say that research facilities are not enough and that's why scientists are not able to create anything, I don't believe in it. Then I have only one question to ask them. Do you think that C.V. Raman had better facilities in the when we were not independent? No, he didn't. Did Jagadish Chandra Bose had J.C. Bose, who is one of the greatest scientists ever born in the whole world. From crystallograph in 1880, he created crystallograph to measure the nano-level vibration in the fluctuation of biological structures. He created machines with microwave. Microwave cooking system that you see was created by J.C. Bose. He created and patented semiconductor before 1900, and for which Nobel Prize was given 1953. So he was way ahead of the entire world. What facility did he have? Nothing. So facility is not the reason. First reason is we are in India, we do our work for getting money, getting job. We don't do it for passion. Those people who do it for passion, they leave India and they don't come back. That's the problem. And love and passion is missing as a head. Young guys, young people with bright minds should be given administrative job of running the research institutes and providing the facilities. Only when these young bright minds will come and take the administrative job, they will not have any revenge attitude or any kind of negative attitude towards the entire system. So they will, fresh mind, they will try to help the researchers who are doing it, speed things up, provide facilities, and after that, there will be few people. Of course, always remember, I was in MIT in 2013, 2014. All the MIT guys are not so brilliant. Only 20 to 30 people are there among thousands of faculties who take classes over there, who have made MIT, and MIT, the number one institute in the world. So you need only 20 to 30 scientists in India to transform the whole nation. You don't need many. Absolutely you don't.
I hope that the scientific community in India will listen to your suggestions. What message you would like to give to youngsters in India who want to make career in science as scientists?
Love science. Don't love the money. Don't love the salary, because you will get very high salary. So if you really love science, then come to this place. Or if you love anything, if you love painting, go and do the painting. Otherwise, what happens in India, we want to be a painter, but my father thinks that if I become an engineer, that will be increase my status symbol. So I go for engineering. Then I'm not happy as an engineer, and then I'm not happy as anything. And then this money-minded attitude, money is everything. Money is everything. This has to go. This passion has to go. If somebody wants to be a singer, be a singer. If you want to be a painter, be a painter. Otherwise, if you are in a default job which you don't like, and that's a problem. I think the nation has only one problem. My motherland, India, has only one problem. There is lack of love and affection in what people do in their job. If they start loving it, the next day it will become a superpower.
So let's come to your passion, the Sanskrit language. How was overall culture of your parents and family And how did it help you to shape your personality and decision making?
So I would say that a human is born independent, and a human is created somehow by the universe with a typical message. How, I don't know, because since my childhood I was very different. I never cared about what the people are doing or what they are doing. Night after night I couldn't sleep, and when I was age 6 and 7, and death haunted me. Nobody taught me about that. It was not my environment. I used to see people, and I was to think that this guy will die after some days, and why he is laughing so much, why he is fighting so that. So I never used to play with the kids. I used to think that they are too immature. I used to think my parents were not thinking about the reality of life. And I used to go to a small forest was there, and I used to go and cry that what will happen, why am I here, and then all these kind of things. So I was a born philosopher. I was to feel things, and studying, uh, painting, which I used to do much, and all these things had no meaning to me, because I used to see that it's just a matter of time. I will die, and my dead body will be there, and it's just a matter of time. So basically, all those great people who were born, you are looking at them after 2,000 years. We say Rama is a god, 2,000 years, 3,000 years, 4,000 years, 5,000 years, but 100,000 years ago, which great human were there in this planet? There were great humans, but we don't remember them. So it's just a matter of time. Your name will be forgotten. It doesn't matter whether you were Jesus Christ or Einstein or whoever else. So I used to think like that, and I used to be extremely, extremely upset with the whole thing that was going on in the society at the age of 6, 7, and 8. So I used to remain very isolated, and I brought myself up. So it was true. My father was a voracious reader, so I used to get lots of books, and I used to go to Malda District Library and then study a lot and try to understand. But but I was to see the things by myself. I was to look at the ants in the flower, in the buds, and insects in the soil, and I was to monitor them continuously. And I was very inquisitive. My mother told that in the tulsi tree there is a god, Narayan. And then I woke up at 11 o'clock in the night, and then slowly I opened the door and stood there whole night, and came back in the early morning before everybody woke up, just to observe whether there is Narayan or not. And then I decided that no, there is no God. So I used to be like that. So I think that it's a connection. Life and living systems are connected to the universe, and some of the energies sometime used to come to you, and whom it will come, they will create it their life by themselves. It doesn't matter in which family you are born, in which environment you are, who are your friends, because my environment you can't believe. There were so many murders around my house, and it was a absolutely uncivilized environment. So I was to see the murders and all these kind of things, but nothing affected me ever. So I am an antithesis of environment creates man, and then all these kind of things. So there is something much more complicated in the mathematical engineering of the universe and the genetic engineering also.
Apart from your scientific research, you are keenly interested in Sanskrit language. How this interest was developed?
Yeah, when we were students of Ramakrishna Mission, then we used to see Dhaka Ushadhalay, and then many different kind of Ayurvedic medicine shops, and then we used to make laugh at them, throw stones. Those people, stupid old people who used to be there and studying Sanskrit and then doing all these things. So making fun of Sanskrit teachers was kind of fundamental. And I grew up in a in a communist environment. And then one old man came one day in Ramakrishna Mission. He wanted to teach us Sanskrit, and then everybody was laughing. And then 2, 3 guys got interested. We went to that place, on to that person, and then I started talking to him. And then we learned about Sanskrit. And then I used to go in the exam hall, and I used to see very, very old people, can't walk properly in the rickshaw. They were coming and then giving exam. And then I asked them, then why do you do it? Well, this is Deva Bhasha. I never understood what is Deva Bhasha, what is God's language. How could it be? It's just a religious faith or belief. But later I understood that it's different. Their love was there in my mind very, very much. After many, many years later, when I started measuring the proteins and then in the protein vibration, I saw the mathematics using which Sanskrit grammar was created, and the Vedic dance forms were related, and all these were interconnected. Then I felt so much pain in my heart for that very old person. First time I realized that I need to do something. So I thought to dedicate my future life towards improvement of Sanskrit. So it is until very recently I started studying the original Sanskrit literatures. Earlier I used to read the translations and others, but then I started seeing the original scriptures and then how the mathematics, and then I started measuring with instrument what is the effect on the brain for Sanskrit letters, and then some Vedic mantras, the hymns and the other things.
But people say that Sanskrit is a dead language and of no use in modern era. Even the knowledge stored in Sanskrit is outdated. What is your opinion on this?
I would just like to give an example why Sanskrit is the only civilized language and the most scientific language in the whole planet. So two examples I would like to give. The first is every letter has a meaning. So 25 to 30 letters are there. So ka, kha, ga, ga, ma, cha, cha, ja, ja, ma. So each letter has a meaning. So you can create 25 to the power 25, more number of words that exist more number of particles that exist in the whole universe. So no other language has been created like that. And you want to create a word anytime. So if you want to create, say, a bird, so kha means sky, empty space. So kha. Cha means movement, and ra means continuous. So kha, khe, cha, ra. So you create a word. Then the tensor mathematics, just to see, look at it. So you take the dhatu, a two-letter word, and then what you do, you transform it singular, dual, or plural. That is 3, and then 7 different kind of situations. We call it karaka, and then past, present, future. So it's a 3 into 7 into 3. So it's a cubic tensor-like architecture, and that mathematics was created by Panini's brother Pingala, who actually compiled it. And then this kind of transformation. So what happens? A word is created based on 30 fundamental features or functions of the whole universe, which was carefully selected. And those careful feelings could combine and create any kind of word, any kind of functions, any kind of properties in the universe. And you transform it in such a way that you can put that word anywhere in the sentence, not like English. English has auxiliary verb. He is a boy. Okay? So you need an auxiliary verb. I am going. Am, auxiliary. In Urdu or Arabic, you have 2. Kahan ja rahe ho. Ja rahe ho. Rahe ho, you don't require it. You have 2 extra. So that's why, or Hindi or Urdu or Arabic, they are the weakest language. And English is the second weakest. But the Sanskrit, go, gachati, gachatam, gachantam. Singularity, plurality, situation, everywise I can transform. Name me any language even near to this level of supremacy. There is none in the world. I mean, there is no second, third, fourth position. When you rank based on the scientific architecture of a language, then the Sanskrit is number 1. There is no number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5 or other languages. In Japanese language, they put 3, round V shape to say that it is a planet. A human-like drawing to say it is a human. So you have 5,000 kanji, 5,000 symbols to express it. And here, a guy creates it 30. And if I create a new word, or a new transformation, new grammar, you don't have to refer to a grammar book. You can listen to those new words and you can tell me. You can understand what I'm talking about. So I don't need to have a Shabda Bhandar, a big dictionary full of thousands and thousands of years. We are creating it. You can create any new language, any new word. You can transform a verb in a new way while talking. So much freedom has been given, and because of this mathematics, you are able to encode rhythm. That's why we have Chandogya Upanishad. We create the Shastras to encode the rhythm, the clock architecture, because eventually at the end of the day, you have to build the architecture, and very easy to do. So only those who doesn't understand the beauty of mathematics, beautiful mathematics in Sanskrit, tell that it is a dead language. It can never be dead. Even if 10 people speaks it, it will never be dead. Why? The reason is that this language does not need to get word from the other languages like English does, like Arabic or Hindi. You can't create new word. But in Sanskrit, never. Like computer, Sanganak, I create a new word. Sankriya Ganak, a machine that spontaneously and simultaneously can compute. All these words. If somebody says Sanganak, I can make out what he is talking about, and you can give a new name, no problem. Not just that, what I have done is I have put EEG machine on the brain, and then I have checked for each letter what are the pattern of pronunciation, because pronunciation is extremely important in Sanskrit. So what we found is that a very true original feelings could be generated by uttering the Sanskrit letters and the words. So they have a universal code inside. So not just a healing. So I say when we talk Sanskrit, we are not talking in a language. We are worshipping the God. That's why it was said Deva Bhasha, because Maharshi Kapil first proposed pre-Vedic era that there should be a language using which we should be able to converse with the universe. That was his objective, and he was arguing in his writing continuously. So after thousands and thousands of years, so at least 1400 years historically, the current history, which is written by the British, by the way, but actual time gap we don't know. But 1400 years, say whatever the British has written for Indian history is true. So Kapil, and then Vedas was written in 2500 BC or something like that. So let's consider those as absolutely perfect. So then, even then, 1500 years of gap is there between Panini and Kapil, Maharshi Kapil. And you see that a language was being perfected to do what? So that when I utter a particular word, exact perception of that particular object is created in the mind of a person who is doing it. Which nation, tell me, in the world has spent a few thousand years arguing to build a perfect language that can express the true form of the universe's creation or universe's mathematical engineering? Who did that? Nobody. No language ever was planned to create and architecture to it. So that's why Sanskrit was never dead, is never dead, and even in the next thousands of years, it will not be dead. Because more and more time will pass by, its beauty and mathematics will come there. There are thousands of people like me in India and around the world who love it and who will die for it. And then this is the way to survive. So I would like to be those old people, fool, whom other people used to come and throw stones in the medicine shops, and who were holding the rich cultural heritage of this land.
So you learned the Sanskrit so deeply. So did you have any mentor, or you learned it by yourself?
So basically I started learning Sanskrit from class 7, class 8, and then after that I did some additional courses on Sanskrit. But I started studying the original scriptures and then try to understand what is the meaning, because I felt like somehow somehow I tried to join with some teachers and others, and then I found that Sanskrit have been Abrahamatized. That is the English. Like I'm saying a sentence. If you open any YouTube channel for teaching Sanskrit or go to any Sanskrit teacher and something, you will see that they say that Mama grihe eka vastu ashit. So they say a word, a verb separately. So that is kind of influence of English language in Sanskrit, in true Sanskrit. This kind of thing should not be there. So there are many things which has been added as fundamental to Sanskrit, and Sanskrit has been corrupted, I feel, in many ways. So I started reading the original Sanskrit pre 400 BC. Those scriptures are there which were copied. So basically, you would say that I started with Sanskrit teachers, and then many online clubs, groups, and then acharyas, and then I left them to go to the original scriptures, because I felt that if the mathematics is true, the way Pingala organized it, or the Panini framed it as a grammar, then many of the things that you were doing in Sanskrit language, you should not be doing. So in a sense, you can say that eventually I became my own teacher, and my guide is now the rhythm in the brain or vibration in the brain to guide me that how the word should be properly pronunciated, because ultimately it is Deva Bhasha. So universe knows it right. So if the universe knows it, my conscious being and everybody's conscious being on human subject conscious being should perfectly read the rhythm or the feelings. So synchronizing them in the mind, the visual picture, object, and the sound pronunciation is my teacher now.
Some experts believe that Sanskrit is useful for computers. What is your opinion?
Absolutely, because Pingala, perhaps Pingala, who was the brother of Panini, he created the binary system. The binary system that you know,
Yes. 0, 1.
0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, and then explaining it. He first proposed it in 400 BC. So, the person who understood the tensor mathematics and other kind of mathematics the best way, and the foundation of existing computers, I would say existing civilization, because Turing machine suggests, the philosophy suggests the whole universe, events of any complexity could be rewritten on a tape with 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. With a simple set of yes, no, yes, no, yes, no type events. It is possible. Of course, Hindu scholars will not believe in it. They think that it is within and above. So Kala Chakra, and then Loka, Lokantare Loka. So one Loka means one clock, and inside the pixel you go inside and you find more and more clock inside. So that could be in computer architecture. So present day computer architecture, which is as is today, so the binary system and binary terminologies. So current structure of Sanskrit could easily be programmed in the best possible way because of its framework. Because letters have a meaning. 25 letters, you just code it. You understand? Instead of 0, 1, you could have 0, 1, 2, 3 up to 15.
Yes.
So why don't you have 0, 1, 2, 3 up to 29? And then each letter will be a concept. And then you can program and you can create a new kind of computer. So not only just present day computer, you can advance it. So in 1980s, 1985, I think, Forbes magazine set up some linguistics that which language should be the best for programming, and then they came up Sanskrit. But this decision making does not require any research, because except Sanskrit there is no other language in the competition.
Yes. So what is the approach towards Sanskrit outside India?
I would say that outside India, Sanskrit, very few people know about Sanskrit. Only among the very high educated and those who are Indologists or love India, they know that in ancient India there used to be a language called Sanskrit. So we always see in the Indian newspapers and news channels and everywhere that the whole world is moving towards Sanskrit, and there is a fever in Germany about Sanskrit, and then that great Harvard scholar is saying Sanskrit is the root of all language. So these are, only discrete pieces of news, which is not an absolute conception that is there. But I would like to add in this reply that when Indians will start respecting it, the negativity that we have against the Sanskrit, and leaving its beauty, its mathematics, its scientific engineering, its approach towards reform, revolutionizing the way mechanistic rhythms could be organized, music could be composed. So that kind of beauty we have to bring it to the Indians' mind, and when many Indians would start believing in it, only then the whole world will appreciate the beauty of Sanskrit.
Yes, true. Is there any relevance with your scientific work and Sanskrit language?
Yeah. So basically, when we were measuring the protein vibration, then we found that the frequencies at which the proteins or the elementary molecule by using which our body is constructed, when those proteins vibrate and compose the music, then those frequencies arrange like a classical music, like aroha and avaraha, sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa, sa ni da pa ma ga re sa. So aroha and avaraha, and you construct a raga that gives a particular kind of feelings. So I found that that is the kind of cyclic approach. You make a 12th cycle, no? Seven notes going up, 7 notes going down, two common, so it becomes 12. So 12 is the kind of holy number in Hinduism, and 12 into 9, so it is 108. 108 also Rudraksha you have in the garland, and 108, Tandava Nritya, 108 lotus is used in worshipping Lakshmi or Durga. So this kind of mathematics I found in the vibration of proteins. So when I looked into it, I found 30 different kind of elementary patterns, geometric patterns, and those patterns I found when I pronunciated Sanskrit letters and saw it in the oscilloscope. So this is kind of I understood that the rishis who followed the footsteps or the philosophical instruction of Maharshi Kapil of pre-Vedantic era, they did an honest work towards understanding the foundational language of the universe, and that is Sanskrit.
So, according to you, what should be done to increase the use of Sanskrit in our day-to-day life and to make common people conversant with Sanskrit?
We don't have to do much, because already I am from Bengal. 60 to 70% of the words that we use are Sanskrit. You are from Maharashtra. 50 to 60% of the words you use day to day in Sanskrit. And some people are in Tamil Nadu, they speak in Tamil language, but 50% of the words are Sanskrit, very similar. And in Malayalam also, in Gujarati also, in Rajasthan also, everywhere. So 50% of the words are Sanskrit, it's already there. And I have seen the way when we speak in Sanskrit, there is a special tonal properties, special way of transforming the verbs that we use in Bengali. There are some features we don't use. I have seen in the Maharashtrian and Marathi language, when you were talking and when you speak, then you use those particular tones which we have not adopted from Sanskrit, but you have adopted. And some of the features in Rajasthani language they have adapted, in some Gujarati language they have adapted, and some of the features in Malayalam they have adapted. So I talk to people and I try to understand it, so that proper methodology could be derived to transform. And I have understood that Sanskrit is never dead. Sanskrit is alive in terms of Bengali plus Marathi plus Gujarati plus Rajasthani plus Tamil plus Malayali plus Telugu. So in them, some of its feature has been distributed and it has been rejuvenated and it is surviving and thriving. So to enjoy its pure form, some scientists have to come and show its beauty. Sanskrit teachers are panic creators. They have been creators of panic, and that curse is now punishing the whole nation. So I think that the beauty of Sanskrit has to be brought in and is being brought in by many, many researchers all around the world. So the supremacy of Sanskrit will be established automatically because of these efforts. We don't have to do much. It's just a matter of time. Sanskrit will be there almost everywhere in the world.
Okay, let's talk about classical music. What is your opinion about Indian classical music and Swarshastra? You have established an institute about Swarshastra. Please tell us more about it.
So basically, when Bharat Muni wrote Natya Shastra, he didn't created Indian dance, Indian music. Geetam, Badam, Suram, Sangeetam Uchyate. I mean, you need the voice, you need instrumentation, you need dance, you need all form of art together to express the mathematical magic of the universe. So, classical singers, they start a particular raga at say 8 a.m. or 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. in the night, and whole night they sing. They expand the very elementary pattern of 12 notes, one particular raga, and then expand it many different ways. Why? They want to create a particular state of mind in you, right? And why Sanskrit language was invented? Because they wanted to create a language using which a very particular emotional state you want to create could be created. For an example, umbrella. Umbrella means something, chhatra. Okay? So something you cover your head. But umbrella has nothing to do with the object. So that very difference is in dance. So the father of all dances were Tandav Nritya, 108 form. And if you look at the geometry that Nataraja is creating, that geometry has all possible fundamental symmetries of the universe. So they were not accidental. Otherwise they would have created 107. There could be a version of 109. In thousands and thousands of years of our history, we haven't. So the shastras, the dance, the music, the instruments when we play, and the mathematics that we do, the worship that we do, all are connected together, and that has only one form, very, very foundation of understanding how the universe has been organized, and it's mathematics. So to me, all these are connected. There is no difference in it. And then when I try to understand the protein vibration, it is very, very different, in no way connected to classical music, in no way connected to dance. But I was imaging using quantum mechanics, quantum tunneling. I was imaging how does a protein vibrate, how does it dance. And then when I was looking and I was seeing the similar kind of dance and music, then I understood that truly we must not differentiate.
What do you think that if mantras and swaras do make any effect on surroundings? If yes, how could it be measured?
Yeah. So measuring is not very difficult. So in YouTube you can search. There were some researchers from US and then many researchers across the globe. They have already tested and they checked how the vibration of mantras and hymns affect. It is not very difficult to do. You can take an EEG machine and then somebody would pronunciate the mantras and then you will see the effect. So many YouTube videos are freely available. You can search in YouTube and you can and any reader can get it. So mantras do have an effect because you see, if protein has particular frequencies, the tuning forks, many kind of tuning forks. If you hit them, you play some tunes. Okay, those are resonance frequencies. So if proteins have a very particular way of arranging the frequencies, okay, coupling them, and you can create a similar pattern by which our body resonates following the similar kind of frequencies. If you have a music with that kind of notations, then 100% there is going to be effect in your body. So we created a cancer drug. So we are now going to launch a company with IIT Kharagpur and then with IIT Guwahati and then some CSR laboratories. And that that molecule, it follows the music and musical tuning or composition of different ragas, and also in the proteins. So that vibration, that is a nano machine, that is 10 nanometer, and that goes into your body, finds the cancer cell, and then sends a particular vibration to fix it. And then they have now reproduced it in at least 3 or 4 different laboratories. They are still seeing it. So we can transform the medical science. We can do a lot. I feel always the beauty of Indian scientific system was encoded in music, was encoded in dance, was encoded in instruments, in designing instruments like tabla. Do you know that C.V. Raman, who got the Nobel Prize for Raman effect, his actual research was on tabla, because tabla is an instrument where you do anharmonic overtones. If you search anharmonic overtones, you will find C.V. Raman's work. So anharmonic means Indian instruments were not playing with harmonic tones. That is 1 hertz, 2 hertz, 3 hertz, 4 hertz. No. Indians mastered anharmonic overtones. That is 1 hertz, 1.3 hertz, 2.75 hertz. So those frequencies were adjusted according to the resonance of the body and mind. So tabla and many other, these drums, all kind of drums, the way mathematics was played, it was beautiful. And most of this research was started in India by C.V. Raman. And after that, Western researchers followed up. They always have instruments and music in the Western world, one tick 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 2 or 3 or something integral, but not fractional.
Yes.
Fractional was entirely concept of Indian musical system. Why? Because we were not doing music for dancing and boarding and throwing your body. We were worshipping. We were doing mathematics. That's why I say when you were speaking in Sanskrit, you are not just talking. You are transforming yourself. You are doing worshipping. You are healing your nervous system. You are organizing it. You are trying to make it, pronounce it in a more beautiful way, and so that you can do it. For when you are dancing, you are not dancing. You are doing mathematics. You are interplaying different kind of tensor algebra, tensor mathematics with you, and vector algebra. You are doing it. Since Bharat Muni, thousands of years, we have perfected this. And this beauty of ours was not stolen by Britishers. And still we have an opportunity to recreate the ancient civilization that was lost from the world because of 1300 years of invasion to India, to this holy land. So I think that all this kind of knowledge is untouched. It is still virgin, and it is still not explored. It's a totally uncharted territory, and Indians have the opportunity to use this, build new machines and technologies. So I'm personally launching 3 different companies to build wide ranges of machines based on Vedic science completely, and then newer instruments and machines in the next 14-15 years. So until I retire. So I will continue to build these machines and inspire everybody to build this, because we can really transform the whole world and its civilization.
Do you sing, or did you have any training in classical music?
I sing Rabindra Sangeet. I like it very much because of its words, because of the compositions. Some of the classical songs I like. I sometimes sing also, but I mainly myself, since my childhood, I focused on painting and a little bit of tabla, and I created some new machines, and in Amsterdam I did some international program on creating machines which composes music like the proteins do, and almost following the Chandogya Upanishad, our mathematics of vibration.
According to you, what should be done at various levels to preserve and promote classical music and proper chanting of Vedas and mantras, as in current era, day by day, these practices are being sidelined even in our Indian society?
One of the primary reasons that we have to do sincerely, because the knowledge is not lost. knowledge is there, and knowledge could be recreated, because some of the knowledge, that's why I'm saying Sanskrit is not dead. Some of the essence of Sanskrit is preserved in Marathi. Some of the essence of Sanskrit is preserved in Bengali language. If you just combine those things, and with instruments we can measure it, and we can combine and we can regenerate that very cultural foundation of Sanskrit that existed thousands of years back. Similarly, if we want to enchant proper way, it is not very difficult. Put a machine in the brain and then see in which way we can do it. So there are some groups which are working in IIT Gandhinagar, a professor I came to know who has been working with machines and with sitar. So what I'm doing is in Vishwabharati, in the Rabindranath Tagore Institute, we are going to start a program, and I'm inviting from different part of the world scientists to put machines in the brain, and they have a Kala Bhavan, one of the finest place in India to learn music. And he created a world university, you know that, right? Vishwabharati, in the Rabindranath Tagore created, and it is one of the national universities in India where the head is the Prime Minister himself. So Prime Minister's pet university is that Tagore's University. So there I am starting the program, and I am bringing, next February we will have a conference where we will bring in the Indian research scholars who have perfected and researched about this, and with instrument we are going to start a program. So I will donate some machines and some funding also from my pocket, and I will start this initiative in Vishwabharati in Bengal, and then we will continue this research and we will advance it. And also in Moscow, one of my friend who is a mathematician and carried out advanced mathematics on DNA, he and his team is joining hand with another group in Brazil, Monash International University in US, and then one Italian institute and my institute in Shimla. So all they are coming together to create 108 forms, 108 forms of Shiva's Tandavas with 108 classical songs together, merging them and trying to find out the Brahma Sangeet or Brahman. That was the quest, the fundamental vibration that has created the universe. Yes. So that was the quest of India, and then that quest has to be regenerated in every single form, in the dance, in the music, in the art, in literature, in conversation, in our day-to-day life. Every single practices has to be born, and only then India will be born again. And it is not a difficult thing to do. Only thing we have to do is to decide that we are going to do it. And we don't have 100% people. We don't need. We need only 2 to 3% people of India to participate in it. Enough.
In various web articles available on internet, your name has been related to one of the observational evidences of orchestrated objective reduction theory proposed by Sir Roger Penrose and Stuart Hamrup. Could you please tell more about it?
Yeah. So 1982, Professor Stuart Hamrup proposed that human consciousness is actually embedded in a string, guitar-like string, deep inside a neuron. But for the last century, even now, it is believed that neuron skin, a particular cell in our brain, in our body, and that cell's skin does everything. So that is the foundation of current artificial intelligence and everything. So ever since they made that proposal, Roger got Nobel Prize, I think, last year. So Roger, Stuart, both came together since 1982 to 1990s. And they were fighting and trying to struggle, and they were struggling to establish this particular kind of concept. And to be frank, I'm going to tell you a fantastic story. I was class 10. I was 14, 15 years of age, and there was a book fair, and then my father brought me from Malda to Calcutta, 350 kilometers away. So I came to Calcutta, and then my father took me to London. And in London, in 1990s, Roger Penrose was giving a lecture on microtubule.
Okay.
Can you believe it? And then I listened to that, and I listened to that and something. And 2013, then Roger asked me that Anirban, can you and me stay together for 7 to 8 days in Switzerland beside a lake? And I would like to learn more about microtubule from you. I said, no, why not? Let's stay together. So he used to send his son is Maxwell. So he used to send his son and wife, and morning to night we used to talk. Okay, so he's supposed to get a gold medal in University of Zurich for his contribution to conscious understanding of consciousness through microtubule. And I gave experimental evidence of microtubule in 2009 to 2012. So then I was there, and then I asked Roger, do you know that when I was a young kid, then he was old, and now he's very, very, very old. So when I was a young kid, I saw you in Calcutta, and in a lecture, my father took me there, and then I had listened to you. I said, did I use the same slide? I said, yes. Oh God. So he used to use the same slide everywhere. So this goes my story. So I started measuring because I was frustrated that the whole world was not trying to understand the brain properly. So my background was nanotechnology, so I inserted the probe deep inside the neuron and measured microtubule. I took out the microtubule and measured it and continuously publishing it. So basically, in 2016, I challenged the whole neuroscience. I said that for the last 100 years, what have been being done is incorrect. So basically, what Roger and Stuart did is they, much before me, more than 50 years before me, they proposed that this neuroscience is not good. I mean, filament is doing, but their proposal was purely theoretical. I was the first to create machines and then measure it and then find out how actually the difference is being made. So I'm continuously publishing one after another the experimental evidences that there is a clock. When I'm talking to you, your conscious experience is generated 200 milliseconds. If I can take a camera and take your picture 200 millisecond gap faster than 200 milliseconds, you would look like a zombie. Because you are still thinking, have not figured out what to speak next. Okay, so your conscious state 200 milliseconds. For 200 milliseconds, your neuron fires 1 millisecond. For that, below that, what happens? Nobody was interested. We measured that below that there is a clock that clocks every 1 microsecond, and for that there is a clock of proteins, and that clock that ticks 1 nanosecond. So 1,000 times faster clocks are all the way around. You continuously go inside and inside and inside. Exactly what was said in the foundation of Vedas. So if you are a Hindu, you have to believe only on 2 things. Rest of everything you can question. Because the foundation of Hinduism is asking questions. You have to challenge everything because nothing can be truth. Sat and Asat. What is the definition of Sat and Asat? Sat means that survives for a longer time, and Asat means that survives for a shorter time. So if you look at a longer time, every Sat is an Asat. So you have to disprove every single thought. So that's why neti. We call it, no, we Indians, we Hindus learn neti. That means whatever somebody is saying, you just consider opposite to that would also be true at some certain cases. And you have to find out when and why. So that means this kind of opposite view, then composite view, then different kind of perspectives, all these kinds of views had to be generated. And that was, kind of my perspective of getting into the concept of loka, where you have a clock inside a clock inside a clock inside a clock inside a clock. So 2 things you have to know to be a Hindu. One is Rita. This will not change. Rita means every single event or thing in the whole universe try to come to form a loop. So it come back to original position. Just like a circle. You are walking on the perimeter of a circle, and you are coming back to same position time and again. So this is Rita. You can't challenge it as a Hindu. So this is the fundamental property of the universe. And what is the next is Loka. Loka means if you are on a circle, then if you take a lens or a speck, and then you zoom the line, then you will find some circles are there. So pixels by which the perimeter is made, a perimeter of a circle is made. And if you zoom it, you will find another circle over there. So that is called Sukshma Loka. And then you go inside and inside and inside. The smallest to the largest, everything is interconnected by that way. So Loka inside a Loka inside a Loka. And then if you are looking at any circle, it is definitely a pixel of a large circle. So that is Devloka or Brihatar Loka. So when you have 12 or 14 Loka, like Vishwanath corridor a few days back Narendra Modi inaugurated, there the first temple belonged to the Adhipati, the god of 14 Lokas. So there are some schools of Hindu schools who believe in 24 Lokas. So you see this kind of richness over there about this Loka. So these two things, the Loka and Rita, never get changed. So I found that in the neurons, that clock inside a clock inside a clock inside a clock inside a clock architecture. So using this, I proposed resonance chain to consolidate the proposal of Roger Penrose and Stuart Hameroff, that consciousness is related. So the chain vibrates and synchronizes with the universe. That's why we feel the universe. I have that kind of Chandogya Upanishad based, this prime based, this resonance chain inside me and inside you. That's why whatever the concept I'm creating every time in a new way, you are able to recreate it in your mind in the same way. And that's how you are able to understand me, even though that concept you never knew before. So this is the computer we are building for the first time in the world, and no such proposal were even near to it.
So what is your personal opinion regarding consciousness, or what do you think the consciousness actually is?
Consciousness is the property by which you can simulate or emulate any vibrational pattern in the universe. So it is your ability. So with this ability, what you can do, and also it also gives you another ability that you can create information triplet. Information triplet, Shiva's Trinetra. So Trinetra part you have to consider always very, very much. So you have one person who is talking to me, another person who is looking at different aspects of this whole program interview, and then you have another one who is in your home. So always three different identities are continuously interplaying in a single system. So what we can do is we can connect with the universe with one system. One system we can operate the internal thoughts and the structures, and another one is by which I communicate the inner world with the outer world. So this is another property of conscious being. So basically the first property is we will able to, suppose I have a musical instrument, and whatever the music is played in the universe, in the whatever form, the rotation of the planets, and then movement of the galaxies, and whatever be the rhythm, the music of the black hole. If anybody wants to listen to the music of the black hole, they can go to visit the NASA website. There are beautiful music. The music of brain firing, that is also a beautiful music. So you can listen to them. So all this music you can emulate and recreate in a particular instrument. That instrument will be called a conscious machine.
Can this consciousness survive after death or without body?
Basically, resonance chain doesn't die. It is something like, life is something like, imagine Hiranyagarbha or Virata Purusha. So Virata Purusha means the whole universe is a living life form according to Hinduism. So whole thing is a vibrational chain by our theory. So we have structured it, termed it in a little bit different way so that people can understand who are reading science textbooks, so that they can understand easily. So we have said that it is a resonance chain, a clock inside a clock inside a clock inside a clock. So instead of chain means we get an idea that it will be side by side, side by side, side by side. Now, in this big chain, you constitute a small part of it. Okay? So in this chain of the universe, you are a subset. Imagine whole universe is a big rope, and you are constituting a small part of the rope. So neither there is life nor there is death. So consciousness always surviving. The universe is conscious. for an example, let me give you another example. So I used to give this to my daughter when I was to teach her about, when I was conceptualizing this theory in 2016, 2017, then I was to talk to my daughter, and then I used to tell her that imagine there are two neurons sitting in your head, and they are responsible for consciousness, we all know, and kind of converged. But those neurons also die, right? And some new neurons are born, but mostly they are immortals, but few of them die. And so one neuron is dead, and one neuron is telling to his brother, look brother, the neuron is died, so let's cry. So will they cry? No. Has the neuron dead? No, because that neuron is replaced with all properties and some additional properties by another neuron cell. While you have been talking to me for nearly 2 hours since we started the conversation, or 1.5 hours, so you know that hundreds and millions of proteins in your body are destroyed. New proteins have replaced them. New proteins are evolved ones. You have killed it for your own purpose, and those cells are replaced by evolved and more better ones to serve the purpose of your consciousness. Yes. So your body is continuously being replaced. You will not be the same person after our conversation is over. The kind of thought process that you are going through in your brain while you are interacting with me, you are transforming the brain circuits. Thus you are transforming all the rhythms in your body. Thus you are transforming your immunity power. Thus you are transforming your hormonal secretion and all everything. And then you will be a new being. And then with every interaction you are doing with the universe, you are changing yourself and you are evolving. So the resonance chain is recreating and perfecting itself. You are just a part of it. So there is neither any life nor any death. So if you consider life and death of your proteins and cells, then yes, it is temporary. But ultimately, what you are doing, we have a purpose. That's what we say, no? We have a purpose, and that purpose is to enrich this resonance chain with more and more intricate patterns of vibrations, so that the resonance chain of the universe becomes more enriched.
There is one famous Indian philosophy, Advaita Vedanta, by Adi Shankaracharya, which summarizes as Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya, means only the absolute principle called Brahma is steady and eternal, and the world is mere illusion. What do you think from scientific perspective on this? If it is true, according to you, what actually this absolute principle or Brahma is?
Then we have to get back to the famous debate between Adi Shankara and Ramanujacharya. So Ramanujan believed that every single living thing, living entity, are the fundamental expression of the Supreme Being. And Shankaracharya defeated him by arguably establishing that all these expressions are coming from single one and different expressions. So basically, the single one is the ultimate truth. The single entity is the ultimate truth. That is the Advaita. Now, how come Advaita and Dvaita, this debate came? Then we have to get back a few thousand years. India is a continuously living civilization, only living civilization in the world that has been thriving for thousands and thousands of years. So we have no problem in going back because everything is documented. We have the documentation who was Manu and how Manu's son Daksha, and Daksha's son-in-law was Shiva, and Shiva eloped with Daksha's daughter and then went to Brahma and asked for marriage. But Daksha's son we know, and then his son also we know, and his the hundreds of descendants later Rama came, and then we know, and Rama's son and then his son and his son, and thousands of years, even when we reach Mahabharata, and then his son and his son and his son, and then we reach Vikramaditya. 200 BC. So everything is interconnected, and we have the name and complete documentation of the entire 10,000 years history with the name and the details. So let's get back 2,000 years. It's not a problem for us. 2,000 years back, when Maharshi Kapil and others were also discussing, and that point of time, Purush and Prakriti, the debate started. So Purusha is the whole cycle. I told you that there is a whole resonance chain. So basically the whole cycle, and then Prakriti is kind of a small circles. You draw on a piece of paper, you take a pen and you draw a big circle. So that is Purusha, and then you draw small circles on its perimeter. So those are Prakriti. And then there were also debate about Sattva, Raja, Tama, the three fundamental elements, which goes to 23 different kind of elements. And that kind of debate, that the different elements are compositing. So here you have to come to the perspective before you understand Shankaracharya's Advaita. You have to come to the to Charbak. So how the Charbak debate started. So if you want to believe in Hinduism, only two things you cannot challenge. One is Rita, that is the and smallest circle of Rita, that is Brahman. Okay, and then you can reconstruct and construct larger and larger circles by combining these small circles or pixels. But there was one guy called Charbak. He was very argumentative. He came and he said, okay, now how the matter comes. Suppose we have the smallest matter and the smallest vibration called the Brahman. So I take the smallest circle. Shall I put it inside this matter, or on the circle perimeter I will put this matter? That's how first Vastuvad came, and the idea started that who is inside whom at the smallest scale. Now 2,000 years behind that, the fighting is going on in the post-Vedic era. Now a little bit pre-Vedic era, when they were discussing about this Brahman, that is Adi Ananta, that is the foundation of Advaitavad. I will just utter only one Sanskrit hymn. I do not want to make it very scholarly like Punnamadam Punnamidam Punnata Punnamudachate Punnasya Punnamadaya Punnamavevasishati Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti. It is everybody knows. Punna means circle. So as we Hindus, we circle doesn't mean zero. It's complete, Punna. So if it's something is Purna, complete, you can take out completeness. But what will be left? The thing that will be left is complete. Next, if you have a 0 plus 0 is equal to 0, that means if you have completeness and you add completeness, what you get? Complete. Not 2 complete, not 3 complete, just complete. Complete minus complete, say complete. If you want to take out complete, you can get complete only. You multiply complete with complete, you get only complete. But if you divide complete by complete, I mean, how many times you can take? You can take once, twice, thrice. So that's why 0 by 0 is equal to indeterminate. Answer is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this single sentence actually clearly tells you what is Purna, what is completeness, what is Advaita, what is unity, what is everything. Now what happens is, when you have 0 completeness, you need to say what it is. So that's why the concept of one came. When concept of one comes, then the Charbak and others come, whether we will put it inside, we will go to outside. In the 20th century, there was a debate, similar debate by Gödel's incompleteness theorem and Gödel's completeness theorem. But I would like to get back to 2500 BC at the time when they started this debate. So this debate went on and on and on and on, and then they started saying that, okay, if there is one, somebody has to identify and confirm the one. So there is 2. So that's why there comes 1 and 2, Dvaitavad and Advaitavad. So 0, 1, 2. So this was the kind of initial stages of debate, how to construct it. By 4th century AD, Manu came and in 200 BC, and he started arguing that there should be elements into it. And then more and more time passed by, people started creating the Sattva-Rajatama, these 3 guna, and then these three guna and combined them into different elements to create 23 elements, and then more and more elements came by. By the time 7th century when Shankaracharya came, that point of time we had many compositions, many elements, and then it became so complicated. And the element of fighting was how many different elements you can go. So Shankaracharya's argument was all these elements are composition of gunas, triguna. But trigunatita Brahma. When three gunas or qualities you are adopt to certain things, then it is the fundamental unit, that is Brahma. So Shankaracharya's argument was that everything is originated from there and it takes different form, oscillations. So in our case, what we did is we found that that all these kind of symmetries, different kind of symmetries, there's neti symmetry, C3, C5, different kind of protein prime symmetries of 23 different ways of patterns. They are all connected together and recreating this vibrational chain or resonance chain or the universal Brahman, the construction of Brahman. So basically, I don't personally see much difference between Shankaracharya's argument and Ramanujan's prophecy to it.
Last question. As a scientist, Indian culture lover and Indian philosophy follower, what do you want to tell people of India and to the people of the world?
The first thing that I would like to tell is to listen to their heart and be calm and quiet and observe, not to react. I personally feel that the supremacy of Hinduism is only understood when your heart is like a pond and nothing disturbs you over there. So creating peace in any form is the way to understand the mystery of the universe, and all people should try to do that. And then they would see the incredible beauties that we have been living continuously for thousands and thousands of years.
Thank you so much for giving your valuable time for All India Radio and sharing your valuable knowledge with us. Thank you.
Thank you.